My 17-year-old daughter was banned from entering my sister's wedding because she was too young. I didn't argue. I just said, then we won't go. But at Christmas, I made a subtle change and everything exploded. I'm Robert Miller. 14 years ago, my wife Isabella and I adopted a 3-year-old girl named Naomi. Isabella couldn't have children, and when we met Naomi at the orphanage, we knew she was our daughter. My siblings, Sarah and Michael, never accepted her. They excluded her from games with their kids, made snide comments, and I let it slide to avoid fights. When Naomi was 5, Isabella died of a brain tumor. Devastated, I changed our daughter's name to Isabella to honor my wife. Since then, I raised her alone, giving her everything I could, but my siblings and their families continued treating her like she didn't belong. Isabella grew up strong, smart, with a humor that brightened my days, but she felt their rejection. At family gatherings, she was always left out. I encouraged her, telling her she didn't need anyone's approval, but I knew it hurt her. Everything broke at my sister Sarah's wedding. She was marrying Tom, her longtime boyfriend, in a fancy venue. Isabella, 17, was thrilled. It was her first formal invitation. We bought a blue dress she loved, and she couldn't stop talking about it. But days before, Sarah called me. Robert, Isabella can't come. It's an adults-only event, and she's underage. We don't want issues with alcohol. It was a flimsy excuse. Other teens, some younger, were invited. I didn't argue. I said, if Isabella isn't going, neither are we, and hung up. I told Isabella, and I saw her try to act tough. I don't care, Dad, she said, but her eyes said otherwise. That night, I took her to her favorite burger restaurant. We ate, talked, and laughed. I wanted her to forget the pain. I didn't go to the wedding. Sarah sent messages, saying I was overreacting. Michael wrote, calling it unnecessary drama. I didn't respond. My priority was Isabella. If my family couldn't accept her, they didn't deserve my time. Months passed, and I barely spoke to my siblings. Isabella kept up with school, I would work, but my anger grew. It wasn't just a wedding. It was years of slights, making my daughter feel like an outsider. Christmas came, and I always hosted a family dinner, a tradition from my mom. Everyone came, Sarah, Michael, their families. But this year, I was done pretending. I decided it would be just Isabella and me. I didn't invite anyone. I bought a small tree, decorated, and planned a dinner for 2. I thought no one would notice. I was wrong. On Christmas Day, my phone blew up. Sarah called, furious. What's this, Robert? No dinner? Are you kicking us out? I stayed calm. I didn't kick anyone out. I just wanted something different. She didn't accept it, saying I was breaking tradition, being selfish. Michael called later, calmer but annoyed. You can't cut off family like this, Robert. I didn't explain. I was tired of their hypocrisy, their rejection of Isabella. That night, as Isabella and I ate turkey and watched a movie, I felt peace. But I knew this wasn't over. Days later, Sarah showed up unannounced, banging on the doorbell. This is unacceptable, Robert. You think you could ignore us? She shouted. I stayed calm. Sarah, I'm not ignoring anyone. I made a choice. She didn't listen, accusing me of using Isabella as an excuse to distance myself. That set me off. Isabella is my daughter. Sarah, if you can't accept her, we have nothing to talk about. I shut the door. That night, I asked Isabella if she was okay. She said, Dad, I'm used to it. It's always been like this. Her words broke me. I didn't want her to be used to rejection. I wanted her to know her worth. Days later, Michael texted, saying Sarah wanted a family meeting to fix things. I didn't want to go but felt I had to confront them, not for me, but for Isabella. I went alone to Michael's house a week after Christmas. Sarah, Michael, their spouses, and some older nephews were there. The air was tense. Sarah started, Robert, you can't exclude us from Christmas. It's tradition. I didn't hold back. You want to talk about excluding? Let's talk about how you banned my daughter from your wedding with a weak excuse. Let's talk about how you made her feel like an outsider since she was little. Silence fell. Michael tried to calm things, saying everyone makes mistakes, but Sarah said something that made my blood boil. Robert, you know Isabella isn't really family. I exploded. She's my daughter, Sarah, more family than you. I left. At home, I told Isabella everything. She nodded and said, "Thanks for standing up for me, Dad." But I saw she was tired of the drama. That night, I knew something had changed forever. I'd faced my family and drawn a line. I didn't know what was next, but for the first time, I felt I was doing right by Isabella. The days after the meeting were strange. No messages, no calls, just a silence that made me uneasy. Isabella noticed my tension and asked what was wrong. I didn't want to worry her, so I said everything was fine and convinced her to go ice skating. Something that always cheered her up, watching her laugh on the rink. I thought about how to protect her from what was coming, because I had a feeling Sarah wouldn't stay quiet. She didn't. One morning, about 2 weeks after Christmas, I received a certified letter from a lawyer. My hands shook as I opened it. It was a formal notice from Sarah demanding a review of our mother's will, who died 10 years ago. The letter claimed the house where I lived with Isabella was a shared asset among the 3 siblings, Sarah, Michael, and me. I never questioned it because I'd taken care of the house since Mom died, paying taxes and repairs. My siblings never showed interest. But now, Sarah claimed that if I wanted to cut ties with the family, she had a right to her share of the house. In short, fall in line, or she'd force me to sell the house and split the money. I stared at the letter, furious. This house wasn't just a place. It was where I raised Isabella, where we kept memories of my wife, also named Isabella, who died 12 years ago. It was my daughter's home, the only place she felt safe. Sarah knew this and still wanted to take it. I didn't tell Isabella right away. I needed to process it. I called Michael, hoping he'd explain, but his tone was cold. "Robert," Sarah's upset. She says if you don't want to be family, you shouldn't keep Mom's house. I don't agree with her, but it's her right. I couldn't believe it. Michael didn't agree, but wouldn't stop her. I hung up, feeling betrayed. That night, I couldn't hide it from Isabella. We sat in the living room, TV off, and I told her everything. The will, Sarah's threat, the possibility of losing the house. She listened quietly, eyes on the floor. When I finished, she said, "Dad, don't let them take this. It's our home." Her voice trembled, but there was strength in it. I promised I'd fight, though I had no idea how. The next days were a whirlwind. I hired a lawyer, Greg, recommended by a friend. Greg reviewed the will and confirmed Sarah had a strong case. Mom's will left the house equally to her 3 children, without specifying I could keep it. Since I lived there and maintained it, we never thought to divide it. Now Sarah was using it against me. Greg said we could fight in court, but it would be costly and lengthy with no guarantee of winning. The other option was negotiating with Sarah, but that meant giving in to her demands. I tried talking to Sarah directly. We met at a cafe. She arrived cold, like it was just business. "Robert, I don't want to fight," she said. "But if you cut off the family, you can't keep Mom's house. It's simple." I asked why now. Her response made me sick. "You always put Isabella first, even above us. Mom wouldn't have wanted that." I realized it wasn't just a house. It was her resentment toward my daughter, the same girl they'd excluded since we adopted her. I told her I'd fight to the end, but she didn't flinch. "See you in court, then," she said and left. That night, Isabella found me staring at papers in the kitchen. She sat with me and asked, "Are we going to lose the house, Dad?" I tried to sound confident. "No, sweetheart, I won't let that happen." But she wasn't a child. She knew I was worried. Instead of pressing, she said something that broke my heart. "If we have to leave, it's okay. As long as we're together, I don't care where we live." I hugged her tightly, vowing not to let Sarah win. Weeks passed, and the situation grew tenser. Sarah and her lawyer sent more letters demanding appraisals. Michael stayed neutral, doing nothing to stop her. Isabella and I tried to keep things normal. She went to school, got good grades, and even started a part-time job at a cafe to save money just in case. It killed me that she felt that pressure, but I was proud of her strength. Then came the first blow. Sarah's lawyer filed a formal lawsuit to force the sale. Greg explained the judge would likely rule for division because the will was clear. We looked for legal loopholes, but there wasn't much. The only hope was convincing Sarah to back off, which was impossible. I tried Michael again, begging him to stop her, but he just said, "Robert, fix things with Sarah. It doesn't have to be this way." I was done with his cowardice. It got worse when Sarah dragged others into the drama. She talked to uncles, cousins, even neighbors, claiming I was selfish, trying to keep Mom's inheritance. Some called trying to mediate, but I knew Sarah had manipulated them. Isabella felt it too. One day, she came home from school upset. A cousin, Michael's daughter, told her in the hallway, "Your dad's stealing what belongs to everyone." Isabella didn't respond, but when she told me, I saw the anger in her eyes. "It's not fair, Dad. This is all because of me, isn't it?" I tried to deny it, but she knew the truth. Sarah and Michael never accepted her, and now they were using the house to punish us. The trial came faster than expected. It was a gray, rainy day. Isabella wanted to come, but I asked her to stay home. I didn't want her to see this. In court, Sarah was there with her lawyer, looking at me like I was the villain. Michael didn't show, typical. Greg argued I'd maintained the house for years, that it was my daughter's home. Sarah's lawyer was blunt. The will said the house belonged to all three, and I couldn't keep it. The judge, an older man with bored expression, ruled in less than an hour. The house must be sold, and the money split 3 ways. I left the courtroom feeling empty. I called Isabella and told her. She didn't cry or complain, just said, "It's okay, Dad. We'll find another place." But I wasn't okay. This house was our home, where Isabella grew up, where we kept my wife's memories. And now, because of Sarah's vengeance, we were losing it. At home, Isabella was waiting with a cup of coffee. For the first time in a while, we talked about my wife, her mother. I told stories of when we were young, how she always wanted a family. Isabella listened, smiling at times. "Mom would be proud of you, Dad," she said. That gave me strength. Yes, we were losing the house, but we wouldn't lose each other. The next days were tough. We had to hire people to sell the house. Sarah insisted it be sold quickly, and Michael, as always, said nothing. But something changed in me. If we were losing the house, it would be on our terms. With Isabella, we started looking for a small apartment in the city. It wouldn't be the same, but it would be ours. I also decided I was done with Sarah. Michael, maybe, but Sarah was dead to me. Isabella, as always, was my rock. One night while packing, she found a photo album of when she was little with my wife and me. We sat on the floor, laughing and crying over the pictures. "No matter where we go, Dad," she said, "this is what matters." She was right, but it wasn't over. Greg called a week later. He'd found a detail in the will we'd missed. It wasn't enough to save the house, but it could complicate things for Sarah. It was a small hope, a last blow I could strike. I decided to keep fighting, not for the house, but for Isabella, to show her we don't give up. Greg called one afternoon while I was with Isabella, sorting boxes. His voice was excited. "Robert, I found an addendum in your mom's will. It's not much, but it could give us a chance." He explained that at the end of the document, Mom had added a handwritten note, not notarized, so it wasn't the official version. It said the house should go to the child who needed it most to raise their family. It was vague, but Greg thought we could use it to appeal the ruling, arguing that as a single father to Isabella, I needed the house most. I wasn't sure it would work, but it was worth a try. I told Isabella, expecting her to be excited, but she surprised me. "Dad, I don't know if I want you to keep fighting," she said. "This is killing us. Maybe we should let it go." Her words hurt. I knew she was tired of the drama, of feeling like the cause of it all. I tried to cheer her up. "It's not about the house, sweetheart. It's about us, what we deserve." She nodded, but I saw doubt in her eyes. Greg filed the appeal, and the court set a new hearing. Sarah found out and was furious, calling and yelling that I was digging up things to manipulate. "That note means nothing, Robert," she said. "The house will be sold, period." But her tone had a hint of nervousness. For the first time, I felt I had something to fight with. Michael, as usual, stayed on the sidelines, sending vague texts like, Don't make this bigger than it is. I ignored him. This wasn't just about the house anymore. It was about everything Sarah and Michael had done to Isabella over the years. The hearing came quickly. Isabella insisted on coming this time. I want to be there, Dad. It's my home, too. I couldn't say no. In court, Greg presented Mom's note, arguing I was the only one with a dependent daughter. Sarah's lawyer countered that the note wasn't legally binding, and I was exploiting the judge's emotions. Sarah glared at me from across the room. Then something unexpected happened. The judge, an older woman with tired eyes, asked to speak with Isabella privately. I didn't like it, but Isabella was calm. It's okay, Dad. I can do this. She went into a room with the judge and Sarah's lawyer. When she came out 15 minutes later, she didn't say much, just that she answered questions about our life in the house. I didn't press her, but she was quieter than usual. The judge gave her ruling a week later. It was a blow. The note had no legal weight, and the order to sell the house stood. But the judge added that the three siblings should reach a private agreement to avoid further conflict, a way of saying she didn't want to deal with us again. Sarah left the courtroom with a victorious smile. I just felt rage and exhaustion. At home, I told Isabella I was sorry that I'd failed. But she, stronger than I expected, said, "You didn't fail, Dad. You did everything you could. We'll be okay." We moved forward with the apartment search, finding a small one near her school, and started packing. The house already had a buyer, and the agent said we'd close the sale in a month. Every box we packed felt like saying goodbye to a piece of our life. But the drama didn't end. Sarah, not content with winning, pushed to speed up the sale, calling almost daily, saying she needed her share. Once, she had the nerve to come to the house. Isabella was in her room, but overheard. Sarah said, "Robert, if you keep dragging this out, I'll make you pay all the legal costs." I lost it. "Do what you want, Sarah. You've already taken the house. What more do you want?" She laughed coldly. "Just what's fair." When she left, Isabella came down and hugged me. "Don't let her win, Dad," she said. But I knew Sarah had already won in part. I tried to keep things normal for Isabella. She kept working at the cafe, saving money, and even planned to take art classes in the summer. One night, over pizza, she said she wanted to paint a mural in the new apartment, something to remember the house, like a piece of Mom and us. I smiled, but inside I felt a knot. I didn't want her to carry so much weight. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Friday, and I'd spent the morning with the real estate agent signing papers for sale. When I got home, something felt wrong. The door was open, and the house was silent. I called for Isabella, but no answer. I went to her room, thinking she had headphones on, but she wasn't there. On her desk, I found a letter. My heart stopped. With trembling hands, I opened it. "Dear Dad, I don't know how to say this, so I'll just write it. I'm sorry for everything. I feel like it's my fault you lost the house, the family, everything. You always try to protect me, but I think I've been a burden. You deserve a better life, maybe to find someone new. Be happy. Don't worry about me. I'm going back to where it all started. I love you more than anything, and you'll always be my home. Isabella." I couldn't breathe. I ran through the house, shouting her name, checking every corner. Nothing. Her backpack and favorite jacket were gone. I called her phone, off. I called her friends, the cafe, even the school. No one had seen her. Panic consumed me. Where had she gone? What did she mean by where it all started? I thought of the orphanage where we adopted her, but it was hundreds of miles away and didn't make sense. I called the police, who said they'd look for her since she was a minor, but sometimes teens just need time. I didn't believe them. Isabella wasn't just any teen. She was my daughter, and something was wrong. I spent days searching, bus stations, neighbors, social media posts. Nothing. Every night, I reread her letter, looking for clues. It killed me that she thought she was a burden. Everything I did was for her, because I love her more than anything. But for the first time, I felt helpless. I contacted Michael, thinking maybe Isabella went to him. I hadn't spoken to him since the trial, but I was desperate. He said he knew nothing, but his tone was odd, like he was hiding something. When I asked if Sarah knew anything, he paused. "Don't drag her into this, Robert," he said. That gave me a bad feeling. I went to Sarah's house unannounced. When she opened the door, she didn't look surprised. "Robert, I don't have time for this," she said. I pressed her. "Do you know where Isabella is?" She shook her head, but her eyes betrayed her. "If you did anything to her, Sarah, I won't forgive you," I said. She shut the door without a word. Weeks later, there was no trace of Isabella. The police kept searching, but had no leads. The house was sold, and the money was split. I didn't care. Without Isabella, nothing mattered. I moved to the apartment alone, but every corner reminded me of her. I kept her letter in a box with photos of my wife and Isabella when she was little. The only things keeping me sane. It's been 6 months since Isabella left. I'm still looking. I hired a private detective, and though he's found nothing, I won't give up. Sarah and Michael are no longer part of my life. The blood family I had is gone, but Isabella, my daughter, was more family than them. She taught me what it means to love truly, to fight for someone even when everything falls apart. Sometimes I look out the window, hoping to see her walk up. I don't know where she is, but I hope she's okay, that she finds peace. And if she ever reads this, I want her to know, Isabella, you were never a burden. You were my reason to keep going. I hope one day I'll see you again, because you are my home, more than any house, more than any blood family.